Welcome to Live, life-inspired views for every day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. Every year, I show my counseling students an old Saturday Night Live sketch with Bob Newhart. In the skit, he's a therapist. A young client comes in and he explains his strange billing practice, charging $5 for the first 5 minutes and nothing after that because he's almost positive that the session won't last beyond 5 minutes. She starts to tell him about her need for therapy. Her problem is that she is afraid of being buried alive in a box. They talk a bit, and then he tells her that he is going to say 2 words that he wants her to take with her and incorporate them into her life. He looks at her and shouts, "Stop it!" The rest of the skit plays out on that theme and is so funny. That story is funny, but there is a message. How often do we think or tell ourselves or other people to just stop what they are doing? Stop a bad habit. Stop being afraid of something. Stop worrying. Stop being nasty to someone. It's as if we can make it suddenly stop until the next time we encounter that trigger, that person, that piece of dessert. Then the guilt drapes over us like a heavy fog. How many habits do you break even after you have said you will stop it and not do it anymore? It's not an easy thing. As adults, we continue to lather ourselves with guilt every time we repeat that thing we promised we would change and then failed at changing it. My scientist brother Pete was talking to me the other day about several scientific concepts, as we always do, and he said, when you have a wall of clocks with pendulums, the pendulums start out going back and forth at different or opposite points, but gradually begin swinging together, creating a harmonious condition. Well, it reminded me of a story by Sue Monk Kidd. She described a vacation she had been on in the mountains of Vermont. She stayed at an inn with a long porch lined with rocking chairs. One morning, she sat in a rocking chair and began to rock while looking at the view and chatting with the person next to her. Soon, all the chairs were filled with guests, each rocking in their chairs. She turned to the man next to her, who happened to be a research scientist, and said, "Did you notice how when we all began to rock, the chairs went back and forth in different rhythms like pistons in an engine, but now everyone is rocking together?" The man replied, Well, in the world of science, we call that entrainment. Any 2 rhythmic beings, when put next to each other, given enough time, will alter their movements until they are in harmonious alignment with each other." Well, Pete was right. It's entrainment. Just think of the things you want to change about yourself. Those changes can rarely be done in an instant. They are like pendulums going at different rates. They want to change against the habit resisting change. Those things you want to change must be practiced or be reminded of to make them finally stick or become a new and better habit, like the time given to clocks with pendulums on a wall. Pete went on to tell me that he believes we can adopt the mindset of decide not to. For example, decide not to feel guilty about something we are trying to change and give ourselves grace and hope for the next time. Or decide not to be so self-critical, but instead be grateful for what we are good at. Or decide not to look negative at the first thing. Instead, try looking at it positively. I remember listening to a speaker once who encouraged the audience to look in the mirror each morning and say to yourself, "Thou should not should on thyself." But be careful how fast you say it. So we can decide not to place the guilt of should on our shoulders too. Oh, it can be so hard when we want to please others in order to stay in good graces or not disappoint. I know. I should on myself way too often. I should get rid of my new matronly figure. I should act more retired. I should stop it. Remember Frances Hodgson Burnett's quote, "You learn things by thinking about them and saying them over and over until they stay in your mind forever." What habit do you want to break, or what do you want to change about yourself? Instead of shouting, "Stop it," at ourselves, let's say, "I'm going to decide not to." Put reminders in places where you can see them, so you stay mindful of your decision. And then keep trying. Like the pendulum swinging back and forth, it doesn't stop. It keeps swinging toward aligning itself in harmonious rhythm. This week on your bathroom mirror, write, I will be like a pendulum. Then go out and work toward that harmonious alignment. You can do it. Join me next Monday for Live, Life-Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.